I was trying to sell into a company, they rudely turned me away and said no. But what I did was I bought their .ca domain name, and that was like my little spiteful vengeance.
You're petty.
Yeah,
You're
I
petty.
was super petty. And I got an email. It was somebody wanted to buy your domain name, and they offered me $2,000 cash for it. And so I wrote back to them and I said, 2,000's too low. I'll sell it for 4,000.
We'll take 15% commission.
Yeah. It looks like the ghosts are telling us that's not a good idea. You're an entrepreneur. You're a mayor candidate.
Yeah.
Do mayors make money?
This wasn't about the money. This was about...
if you became mayor, you wouldn't have any insider trading information.
No, I think...
Not him, but his friends.
Yeah.
Now let's say if Shay wanted to start mining crypto tomorrow, would you say it's profitable, or would you say don't?
When it comes to mining Bitcoin, you're probably better off not doing it.
So after crypto mining, you moved on to 3D printing.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a side hustle that kind of just grew quicker than I thought it would and turned into a bit of a full-time business.
Do you implement AI any of your business, especially the 3D business?
Yeah, I used AI to build a website.
So you vibe coded a whole finance app.
It's a website, but yeah.
And how long did it take you to vibe code this?
3 or 4 hours.
What?
And then
That's it?
What about my $80,000 degree? How do you come up with these things?
don't bet on one thing, build diversified streams of income, invest your money, and every failure is a lesson. Like, I've failed more businesses than have been successful. I have failed more businesses than most people will ever start. But each one of those failures was like, I learned one skill right there. And by the time you fail 10 of those and you got 10 new skills, you're pretty good at the next venture.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Retail Rundown with your hosts, BD and Shay. Today we have a very special guest, Zach Hartley, who ran for the mayor candidate for Calgary. Now on this episode, we're actually bringing along our rich friends to tell us how they really make money. Welcome, Zach.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
You are our first official guest on the podcast.
I am honored. I'm excited for this. Let's do it.
So Zach, you have an impressive resume, okay? You're an entrepreneur, you're a mayor candidate, you're also a stock trader, a crypto miner, you have a 3D printing business. So we want to delve into all of this and talk about it because I feel like these are things that aren't natural to say and more different than running like a drop shipping business or Amazon FBA. So we're really interested into really dive deep into these ventures. And I'd say you're kind of all over the place here.
Let's do it. Yeah, I got a lot going on, a lot of good things and a lot of failures along the way. So happy to talk about it. Let's do it.
Let's start off with you running for mayor for Calgary, because I feel like that's kind of like a little different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that started so 2021 is the year that I ran, and it started out as more of a joke. My buddy had got a job in the elections office, and I was like, oh, congrats on the new job. When's the election? And he didn't know at the time, so I looked it up on my cell phone, and right underneath the dates that tell you when the election is were the forms that you need in order to run in the election. And the form to run for mayor, all you needed was a little bit of information about yourself and then 100 signatures. And so I printed off the form and took it with me to the bar and to the basketball gym and basically kept it in my back pocket for a month and got all my friends and family to sign it, and then handed it into the city and ran for mayor. And in the beginning, it was a bit of a joke. And then I kind of looked at what was happening in the city, and I thought there could definitely be some improvements. And it was kind of that situation of, if you don't like something, don't complain about it, go and try and change it. And so I figured, let's give this a shot. And created a website, created a platform about what I believed in. And a couple of people started donating to my campaign. Nice. And then I realized I should probably take this really seriously now that I'm taking money from people. And a few months later, I got invited to one of the major debates on stage at the University of Calgary with the other leading candidates, and got to really kind of give it a good run and actually get up there and debate on the topics that I believed in. And I ended up finishing around middle of the pack.
Do you know how many votes you got?
Yeah, like it wasn't a lot. It was like just over 1,000 votes.
That's still pretty good.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
That means 1,000 people like you.
Oh yeah, like 1,000 people, and there was like 24 candidates, and
that's a lot.
The people in the lead captured the majority of the vote, but there was 1,000 people that decided to give me their vote, a little over 1,000, And I was really happy. We kind of exceeded expectations. I think I actually finished somewhere in the middle of the pack and had a good time, learned a lot, and tried to make a difference. Didn't go my way, but that's okay. That's part of life.
I'm curious. I know you said it started out as a joke, but obviously there was a chance that you would win. If you do win, does that become like a full-time job?
Yeah.
Do mayors make money?
Yeah.
How much do they get
Yeah, how
paid?
much do they
I want to
make?
know.
Yeah.
So right now, the mayor of Calgary makes about $225,000 as
Whoa.
a salary. I think there's a performance bonus based on how they do. Probably at the time I was running, it was around $200,000 a year. So they do get paid well. They get paid more than enough to live. The thing about Calgary and most cities is that the mayor has a similar amount of power as the councillors. And so it's just one in Calgary. They have one of 15 votes. In order to get anything passed, they have to have a majority. And so the mayor is really kind of the face of the city, but they don't necessarily have a whole lot more power than the regular councillor. But that's how it works. And yeah, there's definitely a chance you can make some. I don't think
money.
you should be getting into politics for money.
So I was just about to ask you,
Yeah.
did you get in it for money? Clearly not.
No. This wasn't about the money. This was about having a little bit of fun in the beginning, and then realizing some of the issues in our city where we were spending the money I didn't agree with. And so I put forward a platform for some major changes as to where we spend our money and which projects we invest in. And so, no, the goal was never to try and become
Rich
through politics. I couldn't disagree with that concept more. I think you should probably be successful at something else before you get into politics.
So what you're saying is you probably, if you became mayor, you wouldn't have any insider trading information.
No, I think
Not him, but his friends. Matt.
Yeah.
Oh, but speaking about that, did you speaking on that,
Yeah.
did you see any corruption or any sketchy stuff?
Yeah. And like things change over time. This was 2021 when I was running. But like, for instance, in the Calgary election that year, we had third-party advertisers, which were basically independent organizations that could advertise and campaign for whoever they wanted. And they raised more money through city unions than the leading two candidates were able to raise combined. And so there was a lot of outside influence in that election. And then at the same time, as you get closer to the end of election, people that are campaigning for their own campaigns start to reach out and try and say, will you drop out and give me your support? I'll drop out and give you this support.
Wow.
And there's definitely like backroom deals there, which is why you see all of these in the United States, for example, you see a lot of people that would absolutely rip each other apart on the debate stage, and then somehow they're working in that office a year later supporting that president. And so I think that type of thing happens a lot. Generally, Canada and the United States are probably better at handling corruption than most countries, but like it still happens. It's not super rare, and it's still a problem. I would say even from the municipal level all the way to the federal level, it happens at every level for sure.
You mentioned that as an entrepreneur, it's hard to, I guess, spend a lot more time running for mayor again. So does that mean you have a lot of entrepreneurial ventures going on right now? We want to learn about all these things because we were just talking about it the other day. I think I was talking to Max or Brandon about it. I'm like, entrepreneurship is in Zach's blood. I feel like every couple of months you're spinning out new ideas, new ventures. So tell us a little bit about them.
Yeah,
Let's start off with your most unhinged one, right?
Unhinged
or
one.
unethical.
Let's start with that one, sure.
And you know which one we're talking
Yeah,
about.
I know where you're going with this one, BD. So
start us off with that. Give us something juicy here.
So I think I was in like a business accelerator back in like 2016, and I met this guy who talked about buying domain names, and he had a portfolio basically of domain names, and he would sell them. And I thought, wow, that's just wild. And so ever since I met that guy, I had slowly started acquiring different domain names of people or businesses that I thought would do well or blow up over time. And then I had a separate business at the time. We made furniture from wine and whiskey barrels, and I was trying to sell into a company called Wine Enthusiast. I was trying to sell my products to them so that they could sell them on their website. And they what I felt at the time was that they rudely turned me away and said no. And I was probably just bitter and disappointed because I couldn't close the sale. But what I did was I bought their .ca domain name, so wineenthusiast.ca. And that was like my little spiteful vengeance.
You're petty.
Yeah,
You're
I
petty.
was super petty.
Wait, how old were you?
This would have been right at the beginning of social media. So right around 2020, maybe a year.
Oh, just like COVID.
Yeah, probably a year before that, maybe 2 years before that.
Yeah.
So
you were just young and petty.
Yeah, I was young and petty, and like they turned me down, and I was like, "Damn,
I'm all for it.
I really wanted to sell these guys product, and so I bought their domain name, and then like a year, maybe 2 years went by, and I got an email from GoDaddy, and it was somebody wanted to buy your domain name, and they offered me $2,000 cash for it, and when I bought it, I paid $15 for it.
Oh my god!
What a return on investment!
And so I wrote back to them, and I said, 2,000's too low. I'll sell it for 4,000. And wild enough, that number was too low because they accepted it right away. Like they didn't even negotiate at $4,000. So I turned $15 into $4,000 and maybe like an annual fee or something.
How much you think you could have pressed them for?
Now that I have like more experience and a little more knowledge, I probably could have got like 8 to 10 for it. But you never know who's on the other line. And then the other problem is with domain names, there's only so many people that can be customers. And now with the rise of AI and what we're seeing online, like the .shop domain name, the .io domain name, .ai domain names, the .com domain name is less valuable than it was. So I don't think it's quite, it's definitely not a great business model. I probably got a little lucky with it, and the game is changing a little bit. So
are you still running this business, or?
I still have like a portfolio of domains that I think one day somebody will want.
So I heard a rumor that you have a couple of content creators domains. Is that true?
I remember. Was it like 2 years ago when we were hanging out and you were just like, "Hey Shay, if you ever want like humbletrader.ca,
yeah, well,
you might have it."
Yeah, I think I had yours and Brandon Beavis and maybe Adrian. And well, what was funny was like I closed that sale and got the 4K, and I'm like, oh shit, like there's an opportunity here. So I was kind of slowly buying, and then I started making content. And so I'm like, okay, like there's a market here. Like I'm gonna buy the domains of everybody that's big in content at the time. So I bought those names. I bought grahamstephan.ca. So I think I still own that. I think I have a Meet Kevin domain. So if you guys are listening to this and you want to buy it, send me an email and we can work something out. But yeah,
we'll take 15% commission.
Yeah.
I think that was a good idea.
It looks like the ghosts are telling us that's not a good idea.
Yeah. So the domain thing was just, I haven't made a ton of money in domains by any means, but we've definitely broke even, made a little bit of money, and had some fun with it along the way.
I don't think it's unethical. I think it's just, you're just being opportunist. You're being a opportunist.
I agree, Shay. Thank you.
That's not unethical.
I'm only saying that because he offered to give me my domain for free.
It's only unethical when you do it to your close friends.
Yeah.
But they weren't
to pay money.
But they weren't your friends at that time.
They weren't my friends at that time. And I offered, I think, Brandon his domain back as well. So
did he buy it?
I think I offered it for free. I don't think he took me off. I don't think he cared. But
I would say I'm telling the truth about
the unethical part of
so there is an unethical part.
So there is an unethical part. So the unethical part of buying somebody's domain is when you forward it to inappropriate websites to mess with them. That's the unethical part.
Wait,
buying the domain name.
Have you ever done that?
That is unethical.
Hold up, Zachary Hardy. Have you ever done this?
Well, yeah,
despicable act.
Yeah, I've done that.
God damn.
That's like the ultimate petty move: is buy somebody's domain and then send it to an inappropriate website and then send it back to them. But I don't do that very often. I haven't done that in a long time. That's the unethical part.
Only a couple of times.
Yeah, only a couple of times.
All right, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, let's leave that one.
So I saw a video you posted a couple months ago on the Bitcoin cycle.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get a little bit we're gonna do a little bit of stock talk, a little bit of crypto talk. Congrats on calling that, first of all. I remember me and you were discussing it, and I was about to hit the buy button on Bitcoin. I think Brandon did. Brandon sucks. He didn't watch your video.
Yeah, Brandon needs to watch my videos.
So the 4-year cycle, I saw someone else's video, or maybe you talked about it, how it has some kind of relationship with Bitcoin mining, and you used to mine crypto.
Yeah.
Can you just kind of go over it quickly? The whole 4-year cycle.
Yeah, so Bitcoin, hard written into the code, there's an event called the halving that happens roughly every 4 years. What happens at the halving is that the reward for mining Bitcoin gets cut in half. that creates a very large shock to the supply of Bitcoin in the market. Now, I haven't heard a ton of explanations as to why what happens next happens, but what we see when we look at the data is each 4-year cycle, meaning the time in between the halvings, we see very similar patterns. What I mean by that is that within each cycle, the high and the low of those cycles tend to occur at the same time in each cycle. For instance, what it looks like in general, as a rule of thumb, is about 18 months after the halving, we see the cycle high. That's what we saw in the beginning of October in 2025. And roughly 12 months later, we see the cycle low, meaning the big pullback that we see roughly every 4 years in Bitcoin. And when you look at the data and you look at the actual number of days between the halving and the cycle high and the halving and the cycle low, as well as the time in between them, it's usually within 30 days. Which on a scale of 4 years is hard to think that that's a coincidence when it's happened 3 or 4 times now.
Yeah.
And so I haven't heard too many people that are really good at predicting the price of Bitcoin. But when I look at all of the data, this is a pattern that seems to keep repeating. And so far over the last few months has continued to repeat. And for me, this is the strongest pattern and symbol and understanding that we have of what direction the price of Bitcoin is going to go. And so as of right now, we're in the 4th or 5th cycle of Bitcoin, and this 4-year pattern is still holding strong and hasn't been broken yet. And so what it tells us is that roughly somewhere between August and December of this year, we're probably going to see the low of the cycle. Typically, what happened was it was a pullback of about 88%, 86%, and then 78%. So the pullback amount is diminishing, but if this continues, we're expecting a roughly 60 to 70% pullback with a low sometime around that October.
So we're down.
Time
We're
frame.
down right now about 55%, I think, from the high at 60,000.
Yeah.
So are you predicting or forecasting
Yeah.
that we go lower than 60,000?
Yeah, like if this pattern continues, and let's just say the drawdown is similar to what we've seen in the past, it would point a little bit lower than 60,000. And so that's what the data tells us from the past. Again, nobody knows what's going to happen in the future, but so far, this has been the most accurate predictor of what's going to happen with Bitcoin price that I've been able to find.
Now, you did crypto mining. Do you still currently mine crypto?
I don't mine crypto anymore. I did mine crypto for probably 2 or 3 years. I bought an ASIC miner, Antminer S19J Pro. It was at the time I bought it, it was the top of the line miner. This is what you would find in the large commercial Bitcoin miners around the world. And I basically set it up in my house, in my garage. And it was extremely profitable in the beginning. And then over time, it's not quite as efficient compared to the new equipment. The difficulty rises and having events occur. And so those 3 factors usually diminish your returns when it comes to Bitcoin mining over time. And so I was able to get around 2 to 3 years of mining out of it, based out of my home with residential electricity prices. And then eventually it just wasn't profitable anymore. But I mined 0.3 to 0.35 of a Bitcoin.
Over 3 years? Or
probably over 2.5 to 3 years. Yeah, something like that. And so it paid for itself. It made a little bit of money after electricity prices. And right now it's still sitting in Bitcoin. So right now, maybe it's down a little bit with the recent pullback, actually.
yeah.
What's the have you calculated the ROI percentage for those couple years?
Ooh,
Yes, but it depends on what price you value Bitcoin at. So like when Bitcoin was at 125,000 US, it's like, oh my God, the ROI on this miner was phenomenal. I did sell a bunch of Bitcoin kind of in August, September for a big purchase last year.
Okay.
But now if I did the same ROI because I haven't sold some of that mined Bitcoin, the math would be a lot worse. And so when it comes to mining Bitcoin, you're probably better off not doing it because like electricity goes up in general, the difficulty of mining goes up in general, and the reward that you get for mining gets cut in half every 4 years. And so you have to hope that the price of Bitcoin increases faster than those 3 factors slow you down. And as somebody doing this as a hobby that's not raising money to buy miners and stuff like that, your time's probably better spent somewhere else, or your initial investment is usually better spent just buying Bitcoin. I was lucky because I had decent timing with it and I could make content about it as well. So that was also great for me because I could make YouTube videos and TikToks about it.
You could probably make more money just selling the GPUs from your old miners.
Yeah.
Right?
So yeah, well, the miner that I bought, that ASIC miner was,
it's already pre-built or something?
yeah, it's kind of
okay.
pre-built. So you can't sell the GPUs from that. But prior to getting into that, that was about a $13,000 investment for me to buy that at the time. Prior to that, I had my own kind of like home built GPU computer rig. And I was mining whatever was most profitable at the time with that and a bunch of degenerate stuff. So that was how I got into it, and then upgraded to the ASIC miner and tried to run them as long as they were profitable. But now the math has changed.
Now, let's say if Shay wanted to start mining crypto tomorrow, would you say it's profitable, or would you say don't bother, Shay?
For today.
With Bitcoin prices low, and the other thing is that over the last year, we've seen a massive demand for electricity. And so electricity prices are slightly elevated right now. I expect they're only going to go higher. And so you've got low Bitcoin prices, you've got high electricity costs. The cost for the equipment hasn't come down a whole lot. Like it's not a great side hustle for somebody to get started in, unless they were going to say, okay, I'm going to go big with this and I have some type of strategic advantage where I can either get equipment for cheap or I can get electricity for cheap. Because if you're just buying residential electricity and you're buying kind of off the shelf equipment, the math just isn't great. You're probably better off somewhere
let's
else.
say for passive income, all right?
Yeah.
Let's say Shay has $100,000, $300,000,
Yeah.
and she just decides to buy a whole bunch of miners.
Yeah.
Let's say she's got like 10 or 50 running. Would
Yeah.
that be great for passive income, or would you say there's
Way better ways to generate passive
sure.
income, because like to buy the equipment, set it up, run it, maintain it. And then the other thing is like that equipment becomes obsolete in 3 to 5 years. And so not only do you have to get the equipment the first time, but like most of these places, if you go to a Bitcoin mining farm, they're almost constantly cycling through equipment to try and get the latest and most efficient stuff, because the difficulty of mining the Bitcoin increases over time. And so if you don't have efficient equipment, over time, you just become unprofitable. And so
that's also why they're all venturing into just high compute for AI.
Yeah, exactly. Because some of these companies have secured massive power contracts. So they go, okay, instead of me refreshing $300,000 worth of equipment, why don't I just sell the equipment, open up the space, put some server racks in there and rent it out, or just sell the power that I've already contracted for at a markup. And
That's
so
a very smart pivot.
That's
Yeah.
a
It probably
very
makes way more money than mining Bitcoin.
that's
It
a very
does, yes.
quick pivot too. Imagine you got
Yeah.
like so late into the game to pivot. So like companies like CleanSpark, Mara, Iron. We went to the CleanSpark facility, remember? And they were telling
Was
us
it
about
just
it.
2 years ago or something that we went?
It was 2 years ago, for that FinCon
Things
event.
change.
Yeah.
So fast.
I remember he told us right there and then, like, oh yeah, we're thinking about pivoting into AI, and we're just like, oh, okay.
At the time, we were like a little bit confused, I think.
Yeah.
So after crypto mining, after you kind of laid off that business,
yeah.
you moved on to, is it 3D printing? That was your next venture?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a side hustle that kind of just grew quicker than I thought it would and turned into a bit of a full-time business. But I'd been selling product on Amazon since about 2016 and not seeing a ton of success, but just kind of experimenting with the system and a bunch of different products. And what I realized was the distribution system that Amazon has here in North America is amazing. So as a solo entrepreneur, I can design and develop a product, I can send it to Amazon, and I can get national distribution with 2-day delivery, basically nationwide in Canada and the United States. So it's a really amazing tool for entrepreneurs. So I had been testing and experimenting with different products basically since 2016. And one of the products that I tested was 3D printed. It was just a little fidget, basically a little widget for rolling papers, basically storing your rolling papers.
Like weed papers?
Tobacco,
Hold on.
whatever. And so I made basically a little organizer for rolling papers for tobacco or whatever you wanted to put in it.
Nice.
And I just started trying to sell it on Amazon, and it did really well. I sold out. And so at the time I was basically paying my brother to print them for me on his 3D printer, and then he'd give them to me and I'd send them to Amazon. And it was just this tiny little side hustle. But I thought the 3D printing side of things was really neat because I could manufacture myself. Like I could make it in Calgary. I didn't have to bring it in from China. I didn't have to deal with customs over the ocean. So it was just really nice because I could design a product, manufacture it, and sell it across Canada and the United States basically on my own. And so that product grew and started to sell very well. So we made a couple different variations of it. And then I looked into other products we could make with 3D printing. And about 6 to 8 months goes by. I'm like, okay, this is probably something that I could make more money if I did it myself and just bought my own 3D printer. So I bought one 3D printer, started manufacturing myself, sending products into Amazon. And over the course of the next 3 years, it just grew, and I kept putting the money back into the company until it basically took over my entire basement in my house, and I had about 72 3D printers going.
So how do you find what to make? Like you can't, like obviously I'm not going to design it and just put it in.
Yeah.
So like how do you come up with these things?
So most of my products were accessories or organizers. And so my whole strategy was find something that already sells really well. So in that case, it was rolling papers. What it ended up being later on was power tools. And so I would find the most popular power tool that was selling on Amazon, and I would create an organizer or a liner for it. And then I would advertise my product on that listing. So when somebody bought that power tool, at the bottom, it would say, we also recommend or advertise product, and then show the organizer, the liner to go with it. And so my whole strategy was, what are people already buying? And how can I build an accessory or an organizer or something that adds value to something that I already know is selling a lot of?
So aim for like the more simple things, right?
Exactly. Yeah. With 3D printing, there's layer lines to it, and it's a very specific level of manufacturing that's not super aesthetic in a lot of cases. And so what I focused on was just really simple functional products that just delivered pure value. They weren't there to look good and look nice on your wall. They were there to keep your tools organized with all of their accessories, keep it safe and keep it waterproof. And so I focused on products that were purely utility rather than aesthetics or design focused.
That's a very smart and efficient way
outside the
to
box.
do it. Yeah, outside the box.
Yeah.
And you're riding the trend with whatever is already selling on Amazon. You're just kind of tagging along with like the add-ons.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
What kind of marketing do you do? Do you do like TikTok videos or anything, or
so
not for your business? I'm talking about for your product.
For the product. So I created product pages on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. The brand is called Tidy Tool. And so I would design and develop the products. I would send them into Amazon, so they were available on Amazon Prime. And then I would make videos showing how they organize your tools or help you keep your garage clean or whatever the function of that product was. And then just a simple link in bio for people to purchase it on Amazon. But realistically, most of the traffic was actually organic, because if I could nail down the title and the bullet points so that Amazon recognized my product was a good accessory for this drill, for example, or for this multi-tool, Amazon would organically show my product near or on that product page. And so most of the traffic came organically, but the marketing that I did do was a lot of just creating content videos on social media, and then experimenting a little bit with Amazon ads when I really wanted to crank things up or move some inventory.
Now let's be a little nosy here.
Yeah.
How much did you make last year from just the 3D printing?
Yeah, so profit was fairly seasonal. Q4 was definitely the big one, but like on average, a good year is around 200,000 in profit.
Wait, in profit?
Profit.
Profit.
That's numbers, man. That's
Whoa.
more. That's more than what you would make as a mayor.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And you don't have to sit in an office, listen to counselors and debate on recycling things.
Yeah. So
What was that shit? Hold on. What was that shit? You got something against recycling?
I'm just saying it's kind of useless.
Whoa!
Yeah.
All right. That's going on the TikTok, anyways.
Wait, just curious.
Yeah.
You said 200,000 profit.
Yeah.
So what's the margin like?
So it depends a little bit on the product. When I launch a product, I'm selling it almost at break even. And the reason for that is because I'm trying to get sales volume. I'm trying to get Amazon to see that people are buying this thing.
Okay.
I'm trying to get real traction on it, and I'm trying to get reviews. And so people write reviews based on value. If they get lots of value for a low price, they'll write you a better review. So in the early days, I'm trying to almost sell at break even to get my product to show up higher on Amazon. As time goes on and as I feel more confident in the product, I try and raise the price to as high as the market will will go before I start losing sales. On average, my products were priced between $20 to $40.
That's affordable. Yeah.
Yeah. And then once we got past that testing phase where I'm experimenting with the price, every product needed to make at least 30 to 35%. That was the average. But what we actually focused on more was, because the products are 3D printed, we're basically using a fixed asset to generate the products. And so the metric that we focused on more was the gross profit per print hour. And so we tried to make sure that each printer was generating at least $2 in profit for every hour that it was running. So like at least 30% gross profit, kind of at a minimum, is where we want to get, but at least $2 in profit per print hour was my main focus, because that's really the limiting factor and the bottleneck for the business. So that's what we optimized for.
And I guess you track all these metrics, probably look at it like with a magnifying glass.
Yeah. So a lot of that kind of math comes in the product development phase, and it's just like, what does it cost in materials? What does it cost in time? What does it cost to ship? How many units can go in a case when I ship it to Amazon? Damn. And then what does Amazon charge me on a per unit basis? And then just summing that all up and figuring out what's the profit at the end of it. And okay, it took 4 hours to print this product. So you divide the profit by 4, that gives you your profit per hour. And that was the key metric that we used. But again, if we're just launching a product, I'm okay selling it at break even or even a little bit of a loss if it means that I can climb the organic search rankings, because I'm going to have to pay less for marketing later on. And so it's okay to sell a product at a loss in the beginning, as long as there's a path to profitability afterwards. That was the whole strategy behind the product launch and the marketing.
What do you think of the, I guess, longevity of this business selling on Amazon? Because you're not selling through other avenues right now, just on Amazon, right? Because I have some friends who do FBA and wholesaling on Amazon, and they're just saying the fees every year just getting more and more, and their margin is so thin right now.
Yeah. So I sold on Amazon, and that was the product that I produced. And then I also sell on Shopify and Etsy. Where they get the mistake and where they go wrong, especially in the Amazon business, it's that they think the business model is finding a product, white labeling it, and selling it. But in reality, that is not the business model. The business model is building a system that can consistently find new products that sell well. Because what happens is, as soon as you have a product that makes a ton of profit, that does good volume and is making you good money, 10 other people are going to find it and they're going to come after that marketplace. So where people go wrong on Amazon is they fail once or twice, and then they finally find a good product and they just sit on it. They rest on it and they think, oh, I've made it. Like I'm good. I'm going to milk this for as long as I can. But in reality, what the real business is, and the people that are successful, especially in that space, is they have a system that helps them find and identify new products. So for instance, my system was, I would run analytics every month to figure out what the top selling power tool was. And then I would design a product around that so that I could always come up with new products. And I used the data that I had to hopefully increase my success rate when launching new products. Because some of them fail. Like I've had lots of products that just totally flop and you can't bring in the sales, or you can't bring in sales at a high enough price point, so it's not worth it. And so the real business model and the way that you add longevity is by building a system and a process that helps you consistently find new products and maximize them for as long as possible, but understanding that there's not many products that are going to have a 10-year lifespan on Amazon, because if they do, you're just going to have more competition coming in.
Yeah. So you're constantly removing SKUs and adding new one, basically every month.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like super constant, but yeah, over the course of a year, I'm probably adding 12 products and taking 12 off.
Okay.
You're sticking with the trends.
Yeah. And so like the advantage that I had is that I had about 40 or 50 products on there. So I had a lot of data into what was selling and what was doing well. So once you have a little bit of traction, you can use that and say, okay, this drill organizer sold really well. What is the second best selling drill? And I'm going to create an organizer for that. And then the third one, and then the fourth one. And so when you have some data, it helps you make better decisions. But yes, it's about building that system that helps you continuously launch new products. Because you can make some good money with one product. But if you make good money with one product, I can see it. And there's
Yeah.
1,000 guys like
And
me,
you'll copy
Yeah.
it.
yes, that will copy it, or the manufacturer themselves will copy it.
So it comes back to the same rule. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
That's also why you do so many different ventures too, probably.
Don't bet on one thing.
Yeah, don't bet on one thing. Build diversified streams of income. Invest your money, and every failure is a lesson. Like, I've failed more businesses than have been successful. I've failed more businesses than most people will ever start. But each one of those failures was like, I learned one skill right there. And by the time you fail 10 of those and you got 10 new skills, you're pretty good at the next venture. And so mine is just a resume of failures that have finally led to one or two things that are working.
That's interesting. But I want to ask about that. What was your biggest failure in terms of business?
My biggest failure?
Yeah.
Well, like, I've had a lot of small failures. Like, I've tried drop shipping from China like 6 different times and like just couldn't get it good enough. My biggest failure, I had a business early on after university that totally tanked and failed and had to lay off employees and sell assets. And so I've had a lot of small failures, a couple of big failures, mostly in the business world, a couple of bad trades here and there that sting like hell.
That's fine.
We don't talk about that.
So anytime that my business decisions affected somebody else negatively and they got laid off or the business failed or something along those lines, those are my biggest failures.
I think that's a good lesson. Like, no matter what happens, no matter what life throws at you, you keep on going, right? And I feel like all of us have experienced that, whether it's through business, content creation, trading, right? You just got to keep on going. It's like what Rocky says. When you get hit, keep on getting hit, but you got to get back up, right?
Yeah.
Now,
that's the truth about entrepreneurship. Like, the reality is that the first time you start a business or your side hustle or your other stream of income, whatever it is, more than likely it's going to fail. But if you can learn something and take it to the next one, you're going to be so much better off with it. And the reality is that if you're a first time person trying to start a business, like, you don't know what the hell you're doing. You got to go through the learning curve of figuring it out to get better. It's like day trading. It's like swing trading. It's like investing. It's like, there's a learning curve. It's like learning how to play golf. Sure. You gotta search for your ball a little bit to get good at it. So that's just part of the game.
And then one day you can run from air, right?
One day you can run and finish middle of the pack.
Now, to wrap up 3D printing,
Yeah.
if Shay wanted to start her 3D printing business today, not even tomorrow, today,
Yeah.
do you think it's still worth it? Is there a return on investment? If she did everything what you were talking about doing.
Oh yeah. Like, that's the thing with all of these side hustles is like, drop shipping works. Amazon works. Day trading works. Like, all of these things work. It's more about, are you good enough to execute it? Are you good enough to sit there and actually learn the ropes and pay the prices and make mistakes and keep pushing through until it does work? So yes, there's definitely room for it. All of these things work to an extent. It's more about, are you good enough to execute it properly, or are you willing to put in the work to get good enough to do it? I'd say that's the bigger factor than, can you make money in 3D printing, or can you day trade, or can you sell on Amazon? Those are the more important things.
So we also heard word on the street is that you sold some of your printers.
What?
What's going on here?
I did. I got pretty lucky. If you follow me on social media, it's on the Hartley Printing channel on most pages. But I about a couple of weeks ago, and the transaction's still closing right now, but I sold the Amazon business. So all of the listings as well as the inventory that I had in Amazon, I sold it to a company in the US that's going to take over that part of the business.
Hold on. What was the numbers here?
How many times X
Fine.
revenue?
Fine.
You don't have to give us the exact.
Yeah, I can't give you the exact numbers, but it was a really nice payment up front, and then another chunk that paid out over time based on revenue milestones. So I don't know exactly what the final number is going to be, but it was I was at a point where I had maxed out all of the space in my basement, and I had 70 printers down there.
It's a good thing.
I'm like, oh God, I either need to warehouse more printers and an employee, or I need to pivot the business a little bit. So I just put some feelers out there just to see if anybody was interested, and a company from the US grabbed it right away. We closed we put the contract together and signed the deal in less than a week, and they've got a great opportunity, and I got a little bit of cash to deploy into the stock market and spend at my cabin this summer and enjoy
100 likes on this video, and we'll have Zach come on the show and tell us exactly what number he made from selling his business. All right, guys, hit the like button.
Let's do it.
So, okay, just because I'm curious.
Yeah.
So when you sell that business, you sold Hartley Printing.
So this was an asset sale. Asset purchase agreement was the term that we used for it. And so the assets that they purchased were an exclusive right to use the name and brand Tidy Tool on Amazon Canada and the United States. They also purchased all of the Amazon listings, and they basically took over the Amazon account. So they get all of the sales history, all of the momentum, all of the work that I've done to build up the Amazon account, as well as all of the inventory that's existing and sitting in the Amazon warehouses. And so I sold it off that way. The company was in the US, so any type of share transaction gets a little more complicated over the border. And so this was just a nice, clean, and easy way to put together a contract, sell it as an asset, and then basically hit my corporation as revenue.
Oh, I see. And how would it be taxed with Canada? Because it's a Canadian corporation.
Good question, yeah.
Right? So when you sold the
US?
assets, because I sold an asset a couple of years ago, and my accountant explained it to me, and it kind of just flew over my head. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, so I don't want to give tax advice on the channel. It's going to depend a little bit on how it's classified, whether it's going to be income for the business or whether it's like an asset that you sold and had capital gains on.
Right, the lifetime capital gains account.
Yeah, so the exemption.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
So selling a business counts towards capital gains tax?
This was an asset.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I built an asset and then sold it at a higher price later on. So I'm still kind of figuring that part out. What you were talking about though, the lifetime capital gains exemption, it's $1.25 million that you get exempted for if you sell your business. Now, I can't use that because that exemption requires you to sell the shares in your business.
Oh, I see.
And then there's a few other requirements, such as most of the assets have to be operating. But if you're an entrepreneur in Canada and you sell the shares in your business, you can use the one-time exemption to get $1.25 million in income completely tax-free. So if you sell for 1.25, you wouldn't have to pay tax on that money. So there's a huge incentive to do it that way. This number wasn't quite that high, and saving that a little bit for hopefully later on to use.
Okay.
But the tax side will depend a little bit on how you classify the transaction.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Big news.
It was, yeah. It's been great, and I'm happy to be going digital now, and I've got a little bit more time on my hands for a podcast like this. So this is fun.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now, quick question. Do you implement AI, Claude, GPT in any of your business, especially the 3D business?
Yeah, so I'm implementing it wherever I can. So I built a software to run my 3D print farm when it was in my basement. That was kind of the first big project that I had. After that, in the Canadian finance space, actually, I think there's a gap in the market where we have great tools for buying and selling stocks and getting financing like a mortgage, but we don't have great tools for making decisions, such as should you invest in your TFSA or your RRSP? Should you rent or own? How should you pay down your credit card? There's not a lot of great free tools that allow Canadians to not only get educated on those topics, but also run the math for themselves without needing a financial advisor. So I used AI to build a website. It's called budgie.ca, and it's got about 20 different tools on there that are specifically designed for Canadians to help them run the numbers on these finance questions that we often run into. So you can run a simulator on your mortgage and see what your interest rate is going to be and what your monthly payment is going to be in different scenarios.
So you vibe coded a whole finance app.
It's a website, but yeah, the whole thing's vibe coded, and it's a really just simple user interface for people to make better financial decisions.
And how long did it take you to vibe code this?
The frame of it and the first kind of 5 or 6 tools probably took 3 or 4 hours.
What?
And then,
That's it?
And then I keep adding tools. So there's probably 20 or 25 hours into it. But now there's a lot of tools that people can use to hopefully make better decisions.
So, there's people that spent 6 figures building their own financial template apps or whatever you want to say. And just vibe coded it in 4 hours.
Oh, I feel bad for anybody that is still
You're putting people out of business, out of work. actually.
You're the reason why software is starting to die, and that's why software stocks are crashing. You're the main culprit for this.
Dude, yeah. The software industry, as somebody that's like seeing and using these tools, I just think like the guy that architects the system and runs the software team, that dude's probably super valuable. And the guys that are just writing the code at the entry level, it feels like they could all be replaced right now. So,
but wait, Zach, like my teacher in grade 10 told me I should become an engineer and learn software engineering. Like, what about that? What about my $80,000 degree?
Yeah, I got to be honest with you, BD. In grade 8, I spent a month learning about peak oil, but now we've got more oil production than we've ever seen. So I think like times change. And I was just at my university like a week or two ago, and the professor told me that enrollments for computer science are declining.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's because university students are going, holy cow, this curriculum was made 5-10 years ago before AI rolled out. And now I can learn or do everything that I need with a couple of prompts. What I really need to learn about is like how to architect a software and how to add security layers to it and how to make it integrate with the real world, because those are things that are a little bit harder with AI. But the idea of writing a code to create a timer or a to-do list or simple financial models like what I did with Budgie, like now all that takes is some AI credits and a couple of prompts. And so the world is changing really, really quick. And if you don't have a strategic advantage, then you're going to fall behind and you're just going to get squeezed on price eventually. Because if I can copy your product with some AI credits, then you've got some trouble. It's the same thing with selling on Amazon. If you don't have a strategic advantage, such as building a process for launching new products, somebody's going to come in and compete with you, and you're either going to lose or you're going to get squeezed on price. And so, yeah, some of these software companies are in a lot of trouble, and some of them are positioned even better. Like Google is probably coming out of the AI revolution stronger than they were before.
Yes.
And if you had asked me in 2021, I was like, oh God, search is about to get disrupted with ChatGPT. But like they pivoted, they tried new things, they found success, they've doubled down on it, and now Gemini is one of the best models out there. And so, yeah, if you're if your teacher has a really strong opinion about something or something like that when you're young, just remember it can change pretty quick, because I can think of 10 different scenarios where what I was educated on ended up being wrong 10 years later. Maybe at the time it was right, but 10 years later it was wrong.
Going back to Budgie, so I saw the website, really sleek. How are you monetizing that? Is that kind of one of the side hustles you're running right now?
So that was more of a project for me.
Oh,
that was more like me trying to learn how to use the vibe coding tools, how to use Claude, and how to like build something for fun.
Fun.
Yeah, for
fun.
I know that sounds weird, right? That's my like fun Friday night is like building finance tools.
I love that.
Like this is what I'm into. And so right now it's totally free. You got to sign up with a Gmail or an email address
For free. Wow,
but
you're
yeah,
an angel.
I think like 20 out of 21 of the tools are free. One of them is like $5 a month, and it's a portfolio builder.
I'm looking at the app. Honestly, I can't believe you made this in 4 hours.
I mean, the first
You're
the first
putting people out
revision-
of business here, Zach.
Oh, dude, yeah.
In 4 hours.
Yeah,
In 4 hours.
if you're trying to build a software or even an app right now, and you're hiring an overseas development team, or you're paying $50,000 or $100,000, you're doing it wrong right now. I can promise you, because with a couple of YouTube tutorials, you can do a website just like that. You can make a Shopify app. You can make a Apple app. Like, it's the barrier to entry in software has just plummeted by 99%.
Wow. And how much would you say in total, not regarding time, but how much do you think it would have cost you in tokens and other than paying for Claude?
Oh, and like my AI cost?
Just for building Budgie, I mean.
$100 to $200.
Wow, that's very cheap.
It's absolutely insane. And I think I pay $5 or $10 a month maybe to keep the website live, and then $15 for the domain.
Honestly,
is Budgie.com taken? Let me buy that domain and sell it back to you.
I think it's taken. I think I would have bought the .com if it was available.
Well, the Budgie.ai.
IO.
Yeah, IO.
Yeah. No, the cool thing about this though is like this is designed for Canadians, and if it grows tremendously, maybe I'll monetize it through advertisements or the email, or maybe even a premium tier. But what was cool is like I wanted to put this out there, see if it gained any traction, and then if it does, I would just white label it and rebrand it for the United States or Australia or Europe and just change all the math and the models to kind of customize to where they are. So the whole idea,
or maybe someone that's listening wants to buy out Budgie, give Zach a little message here.
Yeah, exactly. If you're a brokerage in Canada and you want to add some cool features, call me up. But yeah, no, it was a fun project, mostly personal, and for me I think there's a gap in the market, and so this was just a free tool that anybody wants to try it out. And if you're struggling with the Smith maneuver and you want to learn about the Smith maneuver, or you want to try and pay down your debt as fast as possible, check out the website and you can kind of run the numbers for yourself.
So like me and Shay were kind of like thinking about making our own like finance app where you can see people's trades.
Yeah.
Maybe you could vibe code it for us, and we're going to call it Flossom.
Blossom. Dude, save your time. Download Blossom Social.
Oh,
and
not that app.
check out my portfolio. Check out BD's portfolio. Check out Shay's trades. That's the play.
Nice.
They've done a good job. They've done an amazing job so far. So there's no point in trying to copy
So
it.
not worth copying Blossom? Make our
Well,
own Flossom?
well, the
we'll
whole-
have like a
Blossom, oh my God.
floss logo.
Well, like here's the thing in the software thing is like you could probably copy Blossom. You could probably spend a weekend and you could copy the look of it and some of the buttons and stuff. But the strategic advantage for Blossom is the network. It's like when Facebook started.
Community.
You didn't join Facebook because it had this amazing feature. You joined Facebook because that's where your friends were, right? Like I could vibe code something that looks like Blossom, but nobody would join it because BD and Shay are on Blossom. Everybody's on Blossom. And so if you wanted to vibe code it to try and compete with them, like you'd just be going in an uphill battle.
I hope the management of Blossom is listening to what Zach's saying. The ambassadors, the creators make the app. No, I'm just joking.
So what's your favorite stock that you currently own?
Whoa.
My favorite stock that I currently own. Right now, my portfolio is really simple. I sold out of my TFSA last year.
Why would you ever do that?
I know I got roasted on Blossom for that.
I saw that.
Yeah, a couple nice comments, a lot of nice comments.
Only
and
a couple.
couple nasty comments. I bought a property at the end of September of last year and had to pay for the whole thing in cash. So I cleared out the TFSA. Sold a little bit of Bitcoin and put the money down for the property. And now this year I've got all of that room back and just finished my corporate year end. So I got some money to put in. So I'm in the middle of figuring out how I'm going to restructure my portfolio and basically deploy a bunch of cash through my TFSA. I'm kind of waiting for the Bitcoin bottom a little bit with one of those positions. So that's the TFSA account. And then the RRSP account that I have is long-term. Really, really simple. It's in one ETF right now. It's ZEQT. It's an asset allocation ETF that's 100% focused on equities. So it gives me global diversification. So it's not just the S&P 500. The S&P 500 does make up a big chunk of it, but this is an all-in-one portfolio with 100% equity in it. And it allows me to not have to worry about rebalancing or individual stocks, anything like that. This is the kind of ETF that I just put $1,000 in every 2 weeks and not have to think about it. So the RSP set up like that. The TFSA, I'm about to deploy the cash. I don't have any individual stocks for you right now. And then the margin account I use for just kind of shorter term trading in and out of. So my favorite holding right now is definitely ZEQT because it's the least stressful for me more than anything.
Yeah, most hands off.
Yes, exactly.
So speaking about stocks, Zach, we recently saw some news on Canada starting its own sovereign wealth fund.
Yeah.
I don't know much about it, but one thing I do know, it's very good for the TSX and the Canadian stock market. But I'm seeing a lot of hate from your side of town.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Where
tell
is
us,
his side of town? Let's make it clear.
So
Calgary, Alberta.
yeah. So I'm from Calgary, Alberta right now, and we got a bunch of kooks that want to separate from the country, and they have no idea what they're talking about. So that's sort of one topic. That's where I'm from, and that's the big topic out there. But the sovereign wealth fund is an absolute joke. I'm not a fan of it. For a country that runs a deficit at the moment, to develop a sovereign wealth fund doesn't make a whole lot of sense in my mind. And then when you kind of look into this specific sovereign wealth fund, Carney really likes to compare it to the sovereign wealth fund of Norway. The interesting thing and the differences here, though, are that the Canadian sovereign wealth fund, if you read through it, they're going to deploy the majority of the capital into Canada. They're going to try and develop infrastructure, spend it on the military. Most of that money is staying in Canada. But Carney keeps comparing it to the sovereign wealth fund of Norway. The one thing that's interesting about the sovereign wealth fund of Norway is that they don't invest any money in Norway. They invest it outside of Norway because all the money comes from oil and gas in Norway that goes into the fund. And so they're trying to diversify and invest outside of the country. And this sovereign wealth fund is the exact opposite, where they're just putting the money back into the country. And it has a purpose of nation building, is sometimes how they describe it, and helping the economy. But that completely contradicts the general purpose of a sovereign wealth fund, which is to get high returns and provide financial security for your country. And so,
but like my pushback on that is almost every other, like our CPP pension, it's mostly invested into the U.S. markets. The teacher's pension is invested into the U.S. markets. So like no other like pension or fund is really investing it in Canada.
Then
So
they should rename the fund. It should be like Canadian Infrastructure Fund or something.
You're right. You should run for.
I should run for the Prime Minister of Canada.
And you know what? Fair point. And I'm not going to argue that. But to call it a sovereign wealth fund when you run a deficit and then directly compare it to Norway like that, I just don't agree with that. It feels like a little bit more of marketing than actual economics. And then the other like side of it is if you take the step back and you say, okay, they're going to invest it into these massive projects across Canada. If that project is so important and so good, why can't it get private funding? Why does it have to get the public funding in a lot of situations? Like, is this really the best use of the funds, and is it going to generate the best return? To be decided. It also sounds like they're going to allow Canadians to invest in it, which again, not a huge fan of.
Now, is that like, exit liquidity, or is that?
Well, yeah, like you got to think about that. Like somebody is getting rich, and it's probably the guy that owns the company that's doing the project.
Speaking about a specific,
it's probably not the Canadian.
Speaking about a specific company, it seems like majority of the contracts and money is going to a particular company called Brookfield.
Yeah.
Does anyone have an interest in Brookfield?
Yeah, like there's definitely some questions to be raised there. Mark Carney is very closely associated with Brookfield. It sounds like the CFO of Brookfield was able to. It sounds like, and there was a story that the CFO allegedly could just call up Carney and get an appointment whenever he wanted. And so, yeah, there's definitely questions. Again, it goes back to politics. Like these backroom deals happen. They're fairly hidden from the public, but they're definitely there. They exist. And so you kind of have to read through the lines of like, is this actually a sovereign wealth fund, or is this just the government trying to get a marketing play out there and deploying more money into the Canadian economy and printing money in some cases? Because it's not a direct comparison to the Norway sovereign wealth fund that they're trying to make. And so I think there's just a lot of questions to raise there. And then for the average Canadian, we already have a lot of home country bias. We already invest a lot into Canada. So some diversification, depending on your portfolio, is usually a good thing.
Now, fun fact, if you guys didn't know, I'm just pulling this data up right now when we're looking at pensions and stuff. So the Ontario's teachers pension plan, they invested $300 million into SpaceX in 2019.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So
that's a nice return.
Guess how much the return is? Almost
2019.
Yeah, okay, guess.
So now it's 7 years later.
Yeah.
And SpaceX, for context, is going to IPO next week.
Thursday or Friday this week.
This week.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready. 300% return?
300%. Okay, Zach, what do you think?
I was going to say like 50x probably.
You're close. It's almost a 5,000% return.
5,000.
5,200% return to be specific in 7 years.
It's like 52x.
Good job, Ontario
Teachers
Pension Fund.
They are better traders than us and Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
Shout out Nancy Pelosi.
But like, for instance, but think about like how good they just did with that by investing outside of Canada. And like, that's what a sovereign wealth fund could do, could buy those kind of things. But like, if the goal is nation building and to focus on Canada, you're not going to get those kind of investment opportunities in the sovereign wealth fund. And so I think we just need a little bit more transparency about what it actually is, because it's probably not quite as described to the general public.
Well, I hope the teachers get a nice payout. They probably won't, but I hope they do.
Well, they'll get it in their pensions. They get it.
Yeah, they get it in their pensions.
Well,
they're doing fine.
No, well, they should get that return. They're not going to include that in the return. They're going to give them like a 60 or 100K a year or something.
No, teachers make more than that.
No, they don't. In Ontario?
I think they start at 60.
Maybe. What you want to make? Are you okay with 100,000 when you in 25 years of being a teacher?
Okay, I'm not. Any teachers watching this, we're just curious. Is it true you only make 60 to 100,000 a year?
Yeah, let us know in
It
the
is
comments.
true.
Yeah, well-
I know in Alberta, like the
Really?
top line is like 101 or 102,000.
But they have really nice benefits and summer off.
Summers off.
So
3 months
there's
off,
like
yeah.
trade-offs, right? But
Plus, I think-
anyways,
I think
it's a
it's-
hard job.
I think it's fun being a teacher. Like if I was gonna be a teacher, probably gym teacher. What kind of teacher would you be? We'll say you can teach math because you're Asian. Zach, what about you?
I teach ESL.
What?
ESL. Yeah. bro, I'd be-
You want to teach math?
I cannot teach math.
Are you not
man.
good at math?
I'm terrible at
What?
math. Yeah, I'm the worst.
I'm shocked.
I'll use like my calculator to do it.
That's the thing. I'm hearing kids. They're not even using calculators. They're just going straight to ChatGPT now.
Oh yeah. That
Dude,
works too.
it's changing everything. It's changing the way that we search for everything. I think even just how-to videos on YouTube are declining in overall volume because people are just going to chat instead. Google now, I believe, what's happening now is it's a 0-click trend where you used to search for Google and it would take you to a website and you click on that website. But now a lot of websites are crashing in traffic because Google's just giving the answer.
Yeah.
And you don't have to click on the website anymore. So the whole game is completely changing of how we get our information because of AI.
Yeah, it's killing SEO. To
Yeah.
everything.
Another fun fact. I saw something on Twitter here. Apparently, there's more AI agents online. This was information from Cloudflare. There's more AI agents than people in terms of traffic online now because everyone is using these AI agents, right? And the way it relates to the stock market, well, if there's more agentic AI, there's more increased demand for CPUs and GPUs
Yep.
and memory. So AI is just changing the whole game in terms of whether you're investing or whether you're just browsing the internet.
Yeah. And the grid and the energy side of
Oh,
it. Like
yeah.
it's changed the entire economy. It's crazy.
Okay, Zach, we're gonna play a game, a rapid fire game, where you're just gonna answer whether you like this or not, or you can answer with bullish or bearish, up to you.
Okay.
But let's make it quick
And make it short.
and make it short.
Let's do it.
All right. Shay starts off with the first couple questions.
All right. Bitcoin or S&P 500?
S&P 500.
Wow. Dream car or yacht?
Definitely a yacht. My dream car is like a nice pickup truck.
Wow. Rolex or Omega watches?
I like the vintage Omegas right now. Like a nice vintage dress watch. That's my thing right now.
ETFs or single stocks?
ETFs for most people, stocks if you're feeling active and you have the time for it.
All right. Date with Sydney Sweeney or Sabrina Carpenter?
Sabrina Carpenter was the girl at Coachella, right? That I think she did the Coachella thing. I'd go
Yes.
with her, I think. She did a good job.
Okay. BD or Shay?
Neither.
What?
No, I'm just kidding.
That hurts.
No, I like you guys both. Thank you for having me on the podcast.
Lab diamond or real diamond?
Lab diamond. I will live and die on this hill. Buy the lab diamond. Do not spend 3 to 5 times the price on a real diamond. Nobody knows. Nobody can tell.
That's
Buy
true.
buy the lab grown diamond. It's crazy what these prices are.
I agree
for
with
diamonds. Yeah.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Blossom or Twitter? And I'll give you $100 if you say Twitter.
No, I use Blossom a whole lot more than I use Twitter.
All
I
right,
want
fine.
$100.
Carney or Trudeau?
Carney's way better than Trudeau. I don't agree with everything that he does. For instance, the sovereign wealth fund, but like the dude is half conservative. We've got pipelines being built from Alberta to BC. We got rid of the carbon tax. So like this dude is a undercover conservative with a couple of liberal tendencies, but he's a really smart dude. I really do respect him. I don't agree with everything that he does or says. I think some of it is marketing and show, but in general, I recognize that is a smart dude. And I actually I'm a pretty hardcore, I'm conservative. I come from a very conservative place. I actually think Carney is probably better at handling Trump than Pierre is. Like he's a little bit more reserved, a little bit more calculated. He's a little bit better with his words, I think. I think as a leader, he's probably better at handling the Trump issues than Pierre would be. However, I definitely tend to lean to the conservative side in my viewpoints.
Nice. Can you just put your elbows up like this?
All right. If you enjoyed today's episode, then make sure to drop a like and subscribe down below and let us know if you have any other guests that you want to see on the Retail Rundown podcast. And make sure to follow our guest, Zach Hartley, on Blossom and Instagram, as well as our co-host, BD.
And you don't need to follow Shay, but you can follow
You don't have to follow me. Just kidding.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll see you guys next time.